Shalom, shalom. Hawa, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash. Just going to elaborate on this one a little more, add a little more to it on the evil being multiplied upon the earth and why they remove some of these books from the Bible. So if you don't have a King James 1611 version, I guess at least start there. Obviously there's other books we could get into, but for starters, we'll start there. All right. So I'm going to play this. I'm going to elaborate on it, try to keep it short, sweet, straight to the point, and we'll go from there.
First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 1. And it happened, after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Kittim,
Rome,
had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes.
This is the beginning of the intertestamental period. Go ahead.
Right. Correct. That's correct. All right. Also, if you watch a movie called 300, The Spartans, okay, and you see that the Greeks were fighting the Persians. Well, if you look at the very last book of Malachi, the Israelites were under the. You turn one page in your Bible, literally, that's going to be the New Testament. I believe the first book of Matthew, right? The Israelites are just magically under the Roman captivity. But what happened in between? With Spartan, the Romans are the Greeks. All right, they're the same. They're the Americans. They're the Edomites. They're the so-called. We say so-called white people. We just say that because it's so-called. They've changed the name. But anyway, these movies will explain that. Okay, this is what they're doing. All right, this is Alexander the Great, right? Julius Caesar. All the stuff they teach us in their educational system. They know exactly who they are. These books belong in the Bible. Just literally go on Google, type in Maccabees, KJV, and it's going to pop up. New KJV, it's going to pop up. But you have that Bible in your hand, you're like, wait a minute, why would they take this out? Always question who they are, the word they. They call themselves they, them, he, her, she now.
Instead, the first over Greece.
Right, to unite the Greeks. Go ahead.
Verse 9. And after his death,
After Alexander died,
they all put crowns upon themselves.
his boys put crowns on themselves, made themselves kings. Go ahead.
Exactly like they do today. They call themselves dukes. They call themselves King Charles and all that stuff that y'all just watched on TV today. They made themselves kings. Neither one of them will ever be kings to the Most High. None of them. Your cool coworker, your pastor, your friend who you think cool, none of them. You/we, right? We're the true kings and priests of the earth.
Many years.
Uh-huh.
And evils were multiplied in the earth.
And what happened?
And evils were multiplied in the earth.
That's why they removed this. When the Greeks came into power, when the white man came into power and took over, it says evil is already there. It says evil multiplied when he came on the scene. Evil spread and got worse.
All right, we're going to dive into that, okay? So for now, what we want to do, I want to show y'all something else real quick, okay? Listen to this. This is what Christ was explaining. I've showed this before. Matter of fact, we're going to just go here first. Let me show it to you out of Christ's own mouth. The Romans, the Greeks, Corinthians, Nicolaitans, whatever you want to call them, Christ was letting us know who these people were, right? Revelation chapter 2. We'll go to verse, I want to get right to it. Verse 12, all right? And to the angel of the church of Pergamos, right? These things said he which had the short sword with two edges. I know thy works and where thou dwellest, even where Satan's seat is. The Most High is letting us know, right? Like through Christ. It's Christ talking red letters like, yo, this is where these people are Satan's people. This nation of people that he's talking about, he's saying they are Satan's people. That's where his seat is. That's where he resides. like the Most High said, he placed his place in Israel and Jerusalem. We are his people. He are amongst us. Well, Satan has a people too, right? And this is what they were covering in Maccabees. Since they have came out of those caves, if you will, they have conquered, colonized, raped, spread diseases, poison in our food, poison in the fruit, killing off all the animals. They have done nothing holy or righteous since they left. This was a prophecy. He was saying, hey, look, many evils finna come, but it's finna come through Satan and his children. All right. Verse 13 again, I know thy works and where thy dwellest, even where Satan's seat is. Christ calling you out like, bro, I know who y'all are and I know who your people are. And thou holdest fast my name and hast not denied my faith, even in those days where Antipas was my faithful martyr, who was slain among you where Satan dwelleth. He's letting us know right off top, these people, when you look at what was going on in Pergamos, these people are worshiping Satan and they're his people. So let's dive into that. This is what was going on in Pergamos. This is why they changed the name of Christ. His real name is Yahushua. They, the Romans, the Edomites, as you can see, they've been back and forth taking things out of our Bible. They know that that name means hail Zeus. Regardless if you don't know that the name Jesus means that, they know what it means. Words hold power because this is their God, not ours. This is who they was worshiping with Apollo and Zeus on that altar. Christ called out this altar many of times.
Is a story that was really important to the Greeks. It was really a set of symbols that spoke of the Greeks' fear.
The Greeks, not you, you're Hebrew.
Fear, but also optimism that they could overcome chaos.
So this battle is really a metaphor for the victory of Greek culture over the unknown, over the
Greek culture, not yours.
Chaotic forces of nature.
Right, and also represents their military victories over cultures that they didn't understand and that they feared.
That's right. Military victories over cultures they didn't understand. They don't understand the Hebrews, and cultures that they feared. They feared the Jews. They feared the Hebrews. We're going to get into that. Herod feared Christ and all the Hebrews.
So let's walk up the stairs of the great altar into the most sacred part of the altar where the fire, presumably to Zeus, would have been lit. And
fire to who? Zeus. Yahushua, who the world calls Jesus, was alive during that time. They weren't sacrificing anything to him. This was to their God. This was to Satan. This was to Moloch. All right?
And where sacrifices might have been offered. You had mentioned earlier that the figures seem to almost spill out away from the wall, and I think that's most clearly seen as we walk up the stairs. There are moments when the figures that are carved in this high relief actually rest their knee on the stairs, actually literally enter our space. For instance, one of the sea nymphs, whose legs actually end in the tail of a great serpent.
See that serpent wrapped all around them? That's their God. It's Satan. All right. Matter of fact, let me see if I can get some more of that. And this is why, let's stay in the New Testament, go to 1 Corinthians chapter 10. We'll go down to verse 20, right? 19, right? Now we'll go to verse 20. I just want to get short, straight to it, right? This is in context of what was going on in Corinthia, which was ran by the Romans, by the Greeks. Same thing. It's like as if you living in Texas or California or New York. Yeah, they all still Americans, but you might say the Texans, the Floridians, the Californians, the Corinthians, right? It's still owned by Rome, all right? But I say that the things which the Gentiles, talking about the heathens, sacrifice, they sacrifice to devils, like we just read in the hint that Christ was given at the altar in Pergamos. They sacrifice to Satan and not to God, not to the Most High. And I would not that ye have fellowship with devils. So that's twice. Even Paul was saying like, yo, they are a nation of devils. Y'all just don't understand this because we've been in captivity so long and they give us our Starbucks coffee every morning and we cool. You cannot drink of the cup of the Lord and the cup of devils. You cannot be partakers of the Lord's table and of the tables of devils. You can't do both. You can't come to the cookout with us and then go over to a casserole dinner with them. It don't work that way. We suffer from colorism. You got to take that, put it to the side, and put your feelings aside. The Most High deal with nation. Some people are his, some people are not. It's not about religion. The Most High deals with nations and bloodlines. That's a fact. All right. Now, let's get to that nation. You see, he was calling them devils. Now let's get to that nation. Let's stay in Revelations. Let's go to chapter 12 because I want to touch on that, right? Verse 1, and there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars, right? That sun, moon represents knowledge, wisdom, understanding, yada, yada. The 12 stars is exactly what you think it is. The 12 tribes of Israel, right? Verse 2, and she being with child cried, travailing in birth and pain to be delivered. Verse 3, you see the headline, the red dragon, Satan, meaning the goddamn devil. But he has a nation of people too. Verse 3, and there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, a.k.a. the goddamn devil, having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his heads. It's all of their nations. He's calling out all their rulerships. And his tail, meaning the latter end of him, his children, our bosses and presidents and congressmen, all them, right? George Washington, right? All them boys. His tail, their children, during the rebirth, drew the third part of the stars of heaven, meaning they drew the Israelites, a third of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. They did cast us into slavery. This is prophecy, what they speaking. So they're saying, look, the devil, his nation, his children cast the Israelites into slavery. And the dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered. So that dragon, he let you know that nation of devils gonna be standing before whatever woman that birthed Yahushua, which we know who that is, who birthed Christ, Mary, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. So if this was in college, we would say, wait, we broke this down. So when Christ and Paul and all of them were saying, look, it's many antichrists among you right now. And they was letting you know that you walking around here in Rome and Corinthia and Greece and all that. Nigga, it's devils amongst you right now. You just don't know it. You looking at them. Same as here in America. You looking at them. He says, many antichrists among you. What are you talking about? Okay? So we would break this down and say, whoever was standing before Mary, this is who Christ, all the disciples, the prophets, this is the nation of people who they are calling the devil by biblical definition. So it's simple. If we was in college, we would say, hold on, professor. We would go back. I read that somewhere in Matthew and in Luke. We would go back to Matthew chapter 2 and we would say, wait, boom, there it is. Verse 7. Then Herod, we would stop, Google, research, pull up genealogy and say, who is Herod? He's an Edomite. When he had privily called the wise men, inquired of them diligently what time the star appeared. Now, that's also a parable, if you will, because we know those stars also represent the Israelites. And he sent them to Bethlehem before Yahushua was going to be born and said, go and search diligently for the young child. And when you have found him, bring me word again that I may come and worship him also. He's lying like they lie today, right? They lie, tell you everything good at your job, and they fire you the next week. When they had heard the king, they departed, and lo, the star which they saw in the east went before them, till it came and stood over where the young child was. Remember what we just read in Revelations, right? Verse 13. And when they were departed, I'm just skipping down, y'all can read that on your own. When they departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, arise and take Christ, take Yahushua and his mama, and flee to Egypt. The word anywhere, anyways, go take your butt to Egypt. to kill him. That's the nation of devils, the Romans, the Edomites, the Greeks, the so-called white people you see today. Verse 16. Then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men, right? They lied to him, they ain't come back. Howard shot them got away, was exceedingly wroth and sent forth and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem. Kill all them little black Hebrew babies. And in all the coasts thereof, and in every continent that we own, from 2 years old and under, according to the time that he gave the order. Same as today. Kill every single baby that they got 2 years age and under, because that's the rise of the Israelites. So hopefully the elect has been edified. So with that, shalom.